That's
Good
cool.
enough. There we go. Erin Enderlin, thanks for joining the show.
Thanks
Here
so
we
much
are
for
on the
having me.
podcast. Yeah,
Yes.
this is great. It is sort of a long time in the making, I guess, because the messages got lost and things because Twitter, but that'll happen when I just send unsolicited podcast requests over Twitter DMs. So anyway,
Social media, all those hidden folders.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm mad at Twitter right now anyway, so it's probably Twitter's fault. So
Yeah, Mike's mad at Twitter.
Yeah,
his account got suspended, in case you were curious.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Twitter
I didn't do
jail.
any. I ain't done nothing, and they suspended me. But 2.5 weeks and counting.
Too bad.
In this jail cell. But
yeah, Erin, it's great to have you on. You are like the reason I reached out actually like back in April was probably around like when I kind of dove into your music, I guess, for the first time. And the first one I'd listened, like the first record I'd listened to was, and help me out here, Faulkner County.
Yeah, Faulkner County.
Okay, good. I was like gonna butcher that, but
no, you got it right. It's just like William Faulkner. That's where I'm from in Arkansas. I'm from a town called Conway, which is where Conway Twitty took his name, but I was afraid if I named the album Conway, then everyone would expect a Conway Twitty tribute record, and I didn't want them to be disappointed.
Right. Right.
Well,
bound to happen, I guess.
That's funny.
But yeah, that was the first record I had listened to of yours, and like it blew me away. And then I mean, I think I've seen like a bunch of stuff like kind of on social media in 2019 and stuff about it, and for whatever reason just hadn't got around to listening until then. And I certainly like seeing what all the hype was about, that's for sure, after I listened to it for the first time. You have an amazing gift for like, first of all, storytelling, and second of all, like, I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but you can write the hell out of a sad song.
Thank you. Yes, I've been told that my gift in life is making people cry, whether or not through music or my personality, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, there's definitely there's a pretty big market for sad songs out there, so not bad.
There's a social media page somewhere, I think it's Facebook, that says it's called like "Make Country Music Sad Again."
Yeah.
It'd be the perfect fit.
Yes, right, I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Definitely. But that record, 2019, I guess, like maybe I guess like a good way to start this off might be for like anybody that out there who like hasn't, heard your music or isn't up to date on kind of your story as to how you got to where you're at now in your career. Maybe you could just give everybody a little bit of a timeline of like, because I know you have 2 other records that were released, I think 2013 and 2017. But I think you've been around, and correct me if I'm wrong, like just kind of behind the scenes, I guess, as a songwriter in Nashville for quite some time now. So
yeah, I moved to Nashville in 2000 and was lucky enough. I went to college here at Middle Tennessee State and was lucky enough my senior year to get a song recorded by Alan Jackson and called Monday Morning Church. I had Patty Loveless on harmonies, and he put it out as a single, and that opened the door really for me to start writing full time. And I've always wanted to make my own music and went through a couple of different deals and such. I had an artist development deal for a little while, and just kept writing. Was lucky enough to pick up some other songs with folks like Terry Clark and Leanne Womack's Last Call and Luke Bryan and some other people, and then got to a point where I really, got to start putting out my own music. And in 2013, I put out an EP, and then have put out the 2 recent records, and I'm just really loving it. I tell people it's like being a kid in a country music candy store. You just to be able to have my songs recorded by some of my favorite musicians and some amazing producers. It's just been really, really cool to see that go out into the world.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
And I mean, 13 years is a pretty considerable amount of time, especially given the fact that, like you said, you had songs cut by Alan Jackson and some of those, some of those names that you mentioned, like
Luke Bryan.
Yeah, Luke Bryan. I mean, I mean, obviously you have huge mainstream success. So like, what do you think it was? I mean, this is maybe kind of a weird question. What do you think it was that just kind of either held you back, either personally or, within like the industry from releasing music of your own for that long,
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of factors. For one thing, I think that I happened to come along at a time when a lot of things were changing in the business. We were really going for more of that, like, the only way you know about shows is like the posters on telephone poles or the newspaper or something, to having a lot of online, to having a lot of accessibility to record, and to, reach people on social media sites. So I think that was a little bit of it. I think I don't think I had matured as much as an artist. Like, I think I knew what I wanted to do, but I maybe wasn't confident enough yet to do it exactly that way. Plus, I got signed to an artist development deal on a major label here the same time that Monday Morning Church came out. But I was actually in that deal for about 5 years and they never released anything. And so when you're in a deal like that, I learned so much and it was a great experience, but I didn't have the control over to say whether or not something comes out. And I wish that I had been touring more at that point in time. I think I kind of had read a lot in high school that there were kind of two different ways of coming about the music industry, that you could either get your foot in the door writing songs and being in Nashville and making connections there, or being out on the road and playing. And so I moved to Nashville kind of looking at that route because I was already writing and doing that. But stuff happens the way it's supposed to, I guess. So
yeah.
It's just definitely. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was thinking I had something and I totally fucking lost it. That'll happen.
Because I interrupted.
No,
it's because I interrupted.
No, I had lost it before you interrupted. Don't you worry, child.
Anyway, I think I was just gonna say, like, I think I read somewhere. It's interesting that not so much interested. I don't blame you for. It makes sense in my head too, like why you would have went that route at the time, like you said, when technology was kind of starting to change and like all those things you mentioned. But I think I read somewhere that you've been writing songs for quite a long time. Like I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that you had started writing songs around 10 years old, basically inspired by Reba McEntire.
That's
pretty cool.
Weirdo kind of, but I've been obsessed with country music basically my whole life. I don't remember a time when that wasn't. I mean, I'm the kid that, like, when I was 4 years old, the only videos I wanted to rent from the video store, when we had video stores.
Blockbuster.
Patsy Cline's biography and KT Oslin's greatest hits video, and so I was that weird kid from the beginning. And I read an article, I don't remember which magazine it was in, but Reba was talking about after a show, I believe it was her mom had told her that she sounded just like Loretta Lynn. And Reba was, like really excited and, thought that was a wonderful compliment, which obviously it is. But her mom said, that's great, but there's already a Loretta Lynn. You got to find out who Reba is. And for some reason in my brain, I thought, well, if I started writing the songs that I was singing, I'd have to figure out how to sing them differently. So then I started writing songs and forcing my classmates to listen to them in music class, and just becoming vastly more popular than I already was.
Especially probably in high school, because now you can entertain at the fire, right?
All right. It's funny that, obviously I knew Reba was going to come up at some point, but I've started this thing. I don't think I've told you I'm a school teacher. And
cool.
I started this thing where, the week leading up to interviews, or before, like decently close to interviews, I'll start just playing the music of these artists in class, like specifically. I always play them like this kind of music, but I was playing your music mostly because they say funny shit, and then I can say it in the interview. But I was playing, I think it's today or yesterday, I was playing it, and they usually kind of, at the beginning of the year especially, they'd moan and groan because they're 7th graders and they don't really care for this stuff or appreciate it yet. They will by the end of the year. That's the goal. But I was playing the Queen of Marina Del Rey, and this kid kind of snaps his head around. He's like, "Wait, is this Reba?"
Yes.
And I was like, "No, but I'm gonna tell her you said that." And he's like, "What?" They don't know I talk. Like, they don't have no idea I do this kind of thing. So it's like, "Wait, what?"
Yes, I have to be very careful not to try to go full Reba on things. I love her so much. She is probably the biggest influence on me. And yeah, it's pretty crazy right now. Actually, I got a call about this time last year that they were going to put me in an exhibit at the Country Music Hall of Fame, where they picked some new artists and they paired them with one of their heroes. And so right now I'm in there with Reba McEntire, and it's
Really
just insane because you see my stage clothes right next to hers, and I have a picture from when I was 16 and I got to go to the Hall of Fame at the first time, and it's me standing next to her exhibit with her stage clothes.
Wow. Wow.
Cool.
Okay,
Full circle there.
We gotta dig up.
awesome.
We gotta dig up these pictures when we release the episode to throw with it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of stage
Absolutely.
clothes, where the hell do you get a shirt like that? Because that is dope.
You know, a friend of mine gave me a couple of these. Someone had given them to her. I don't know where they found them. My friend Lindsay, somebody gave them to her from that they'd found at a thrift store or something that they thought she would like, and they weren't the right size for her. So she asked if I wanted them, and I was like, yes. And then since I've gotten those, I've had other friends that just are like, "Oh, you like those shirts? Here." Like,
yes.
Really, I write with Terry Clark a lot, and she was moving last year, and so she was going through that panic move, you know, where you're like, I need to get rid of everything in my closet. And so one day she was like, I'm getting rid of a bunch of my Western shirts. If you want them, come get them. And I was like, yes, I want all of them.
Right. Yeah, that's funny. That I feel like that's the only place to get like really great. The best shirts are, you can't like just go online and buy them. You have to find them either at a thrift shop, a thrift store, or hand-me-downs like that. But that's funny because I had, you know, I found a couple. Got some lucky thrift store finds, which in Iowa is extraordinarily rare to find a cool shirt, like a Western shirt like that in a thrift store. But I found like one or two, and then I was wearing them to like concerts and stuff. And I had the same thing. This dude's like, I have a whole bunch of them back when I was touring a long time ago, and I don't wear them anymore if you ever want them. And then I don't know. I think he like wrote his numbers on some piece of paper and gave it to me. I lost it. I don't have it, and I didn't go get the shirts. But
if you're listening, reach back out.
Yeah, whoever you were, about 65, 70-year-old dude with some sweet Western shirts in Iowa.
Well, if you're ever in Nashville,
also shout out Terry Clark, Canadian.
Yes, she is very Canadian.
She's Canadian. That's right. Just always got to, put that in there.
Yeah, get it. I love the Canadians.
Absolutely.
Y'all make good beer up there.
Yeah, we do. It's stronger.
Yeah, Labatt.
Real fun. I don't drink Labatt. Fuck off, dude. Somehow, every time, like almost every podcast, we have to talk about Labatt Blue because I don't drink Labatt Blue. It's not even like a stereotypical thing.
Yeah.
At least it's
like
not where
Big
I
Rock.
live. Anyway, Big Rock's very good. Yeah, good call. Pretty sure that's Albertan too. It's an Alberta brewery. Big Rock beer.
How about the puppers?
We don't get puppers. That's not.
No puppers.
No.
Okay.
I want to talk. I don't know. Maybe we should. We're at a. Now let's talk about it now. We can.
Sure.
I'd like to talk a bit about. I mean, now we kind of got a little bit of background knowledge on who you are and kind of influences and things like that. Like, I guess what's, I mean, we're in 2021 now, Faulkner County. I'm going to stumble over that word every time I say it for this entire podcast, but that came out in 2019. Is there, you know, is there anything, I guess, for somebody who's never heard it maybe, or even somebody who is familiar with it, like, is there a certain takeaway you'd want a listener to kind of draw from that, I guess? And
You know, that's
yeah,
a very
I guess we can
interesting.
go with that.
One thing I personally love about music as a listener is just being able to escape into a different world for a few minutes. I love stories, I love characters. And one thing I really love are the flawed characters, the kind of just real raw human condition that country music kind of has a tradition of putting out on display. And to me, I don't know, I think sometimes it just helps people feel like they're not alone. You know, we have a lot of glossy media or different things, and sometimes you just want a song that you can, you know, roll the windows down to and laugh and bop your head and stuff. But sometimes you just need something that you can feel like you're not the only one.
Definitely.
You have an outstanding ability to make a listener really like feel connected to these characters. That's I mean, that was in my notes, like a big takeaway for me. Like you paint a great picture. Like some artists can really paint a picture as far as like landscape and things like that and really connect people to a place, but you have a way of like connecting a listener to a fictional character essentially.
Thank you. That's one of my biggest things that I've been influenced by are great writers who do that. I think my favorite songs of all time is Poncho and Lefty. And I just love how you can listen to that song and you feel like you know exactly who those two people are. Like I've done the whole movie in my head by the time it's done.
Yeah.
So
how do you go about, oh, sorry, I thought there's a delay, I think, but anyway.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, how do you approach like creating these characters and kind of paving their way throughout the story within the song? Like, are these things kind of, you know, based off things, you know, some people are inspired by things they read, like fiction, or other writers. Some people are base most of their writing off of personal experience or people they know or whatever. So I'm just curious, because like I said, those characters in your songs are such a strong symbol in these songs. Like how do you go about, like, I mean, even starting to come up with these things?
Well, you know, I think I've absorbed a lot of things from my heroes and their music, that just the kind of things that you just pick up over time. But also I love movies. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I don't read as much as I used to with this year. Obviously I've been home, but usually when I'm touring so much, I love listening to audiobooks out on the road. But you know, it's kind of funny. I think sometimes there's still a lot of times when I finish a song where I feel a sense of accomplishment. I love it. But then I have this thought, like, I have no idea if anyone else is going to care. Like, this doesn't really seem that different to me because it's just how I would say it. Which is kind of like, I'm just being really honest right now, but you're probably not supposed to say things like that. But it's a really scary thing sometimes to just, you know, come up with something in your head that entertains you and put it out there in hopes and with some, you know, some sort of, you just have to be confident in it that other people are gonna dig it.
Yeah, that's interesting for me to listen to, because I've always kind of been fascinated with that style of songwriting, mostly because the way I got into this kind of music was the Turnpike Troubadours, and Evan Faulkner is a great character writer too. So that it's always captivating, and just hearing the thought process behind that's really, really, really interesting to me for sure. But cool.
It's funny to me, sometimes people will bring up lines that they'll be like, oh, that line is so ingenious or whatever. And I'm like, yeah. It's like, I never even thought of it that way when I was writing it. You know, like to a certain extent, they take on a life of their own. I remember one song I'd written, I have a line in, it's about somebody who has a broken heart. So they go to Mexico, and there's a line that's like, you're sitting at this cantina with a sign hanging saying something in Spanish about let the good times roll. And one of the reviewers had written it up and said, oh man, that's so genius. You know, like instead of just putting some Spanish phrase in there, you just, you know, say something in Spanish. That's so real. Like if you were sitting there. And I was like, yeah, also, I don't know any Spanish.
It's more literal than you'd think.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
That's good. I always love when we get to those points when we're talking about like songwriting in a podcast, because like I always wonder like if you ever get like really wild like interpretations of a song that are not even remotely where you thought it was. But
sometimes
that's always funny.
You know, it was interesting. You know, Monday Morning Church was the very first song I had out as a writer, and to hear the reactions to that. I remember one time somebody I know, they said that their Sunday school teacher had done like a whole big lesson on Monday Morning Church and how it was wrong and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, that's not what I meant at all in that song. Like, where are you getting this from, dude? I was like, don't have me come in next time and we can, you know, go over this.
Yeah, we'll break it down.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's, oh, sorry.
But then at the same time, like that song, I mean, this was before there was social media. And I remember a woman somehow tracked down the address of my publisher and sent a letter to me about how her husband had died. And she felt so guilty because she was mad at God. And that song made her feel better, like, okay, that it was okay to have these struggles and things. And again, that she wasn't alone. And I was just like, man, I can't believe that like something I wrote in Arkansas ended up, you know, getting somebody from across the country to figure out how to get this letter to me, that it mattered that much to them.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of
powerful stuff.
Connected to what I was just about to say before I interrupted you, is like, that's kind of, I mean, like the wild interpretations are, you know, they're kind of funny sometimes, but at the same time, that's also like kind of the power and the really, really cool thing about music is anybody can sit down there and listen to this, you know, 10 people can sit and listen to the same song in the same room and have, you know, 10 different interpretations of what's going on. Right.
That's kind of funny too. I always find that one of the big topics that comes up sometimes is like, oh, like you write all these man hater songs, you know, like you're breaking up with all these dudes in the song. And I'm like, trust me, I know there's plenty of like terrible women that people have dated out there too. If I was dating women, I'm sure I'd be writing songs about them too. Like,
that's funny. It's like, who is it? Isn't it like Carrie Underwood? People always say she like kills
Taylor
people in
Swift.
songs or something. Taylor Swift, maybe.
Taylor Swift always writes about
like
her exes, I guess. I don't know about
true.
songs. But.
It was a cliche. It's funny. But I don't know. We're kind of getting close to the middle here. Rumor has it you got a guitar hiding somewhere there.
I do.
And you were maybe thinking about playing us a tune right here on the podcast. So if the rumors are true, maybe if you'd like to get into that now and kind of introduce the song and let's do it. You can take
you don't have to keep your headphones in if they're going to be in your way.
In your way.
I mean, I don't think it will really matter, but
it's up to you. Like, it's just
you
don't want to get tangled up.
I'm a professional.
We've had headphone catastrophes on the show before, so
it's true.
Whoa!
Don't say you weren't warned.
I don't know if you know Bella White. She had an AirPod in, and it fell into the hole.
Sound hole.
While she was playing.
Yes.
We had to just like the last like 45 seconds. Like she just rolled with it. She was a champ. She just rolled with it and like kept playing. And like we had to listen to the song like from inside of the guitar.
It's rattling around and shit.
It was something. But
Yes.
anyway. Yeah, if you'd like to introduce the song, kind of let everybody know what's going on, that'd be great.
Sure. Well, I'll introduce my guitar first. This is
Sure.
Jimmy. This is my
Oh.
baby. For those of y'all who are
Hello, Jimmy.
watching, you can see Jimmy Dickens signed it
Oh,
for
hell yeah.
me.
That's
The
pretty
first
cool.
first night I played the Grand Ole Opry. I love
that-
him.
Is that a hummingbird then?
It's a J200.
Oh, a J200. Okay. I couldn't tell. I can only see half.
Yes. It's hard to tell when you can only see half.
Yeah.
Well, this is a new song. So it'll be exclusive to the podcast for now.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's,
We always like that.
yes. And it's surprisingly about drinking and sadness.
All right.
Love it.
Excited.
Well, I hear you asking, what am I having? I'm drinking Jack on the rocks. And you can buy one from me, but boy, you might be better off with that blonde at the table. 'Cause she might be able to give you the smile that you want. I don't mean to be rude, I'm just not in the mood for small talk. If it was red wine, you'd be just fine, 'cause I'd be on top of the world. If I was sipping on beer when you walked in here, well, I might be your girl. You can light up my smoke, but don't get too close, 'cause tonight this broken heart's busy, and I'm thinking about him when I'm drinking whiskey. Proceed with caution, 'cause I've hit the bottom of way more than just this glass. And when I'm drinking doubles, that light in the tunnel starts fading fast. Well, don't get me wrong, these days I've moved on, but some nights I miss what we had. And that 80 proof burn just knows how to turn the clocks back. If it was red wine, you'd be just fine, 'cause I'd be on top of the world. If I was sipping on beer when you walked in here, well, I might be your girl. You can light up my smoke, but don't get too close, 'cause tonight this broken heart's busy, and I'm thinking about him when I'm drinking whiskey. You can light up my smoke, but don't get too close, 'cause tonight this broken heart's busy, and I'm thinking about him when I'm drinking whiskey. Oh, I'm missing him when I'm drinking whiskey.
3, 2, 1.
What the fuck kind of countdown
enough.
was that?
What? Oh,
Three,
okay, you do it then,
two,
Doc. Did it lag? I
1.
thought it was pretty. Oh, sorry.
It
Okay.
lagged for
All
me.
right.
It
3,
sounded like
2, 1. That'll be close enough. I'll be able to. Anyway, but yeah, outstanding. Thank you for playing a new one on the show, and I guess sort of premiering that.
You're welcome.
Kind of.
yeah.
Half-ass premiere is my specialty.
Yeah, there we go.
Was that called When I'm Drinking Whiskey then? Is that,
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I figured I missed it the first time. But yeah, awesome. So I guess what's the forecast for Erin in 2021? Hopefully everything goes back to normal and get on the road a little bit, get some shows in. But I guess that now that the calendar has turned over to 2021, that album is coming on 2 years old now. So curious if there's anything.
Now it was put out in November of 2019.
No, but no, 21 minus 19 is 2. There's no in between. No.
I am circling towards a new album. I'm still kind of, thinking on songs, been writing and making sure I have the right mix. But I think there's going to be some fun stuff this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got the your opening for Tanya Tucker on.
Yes.
Let me get this right. The CMT Next Women of Country Tour. I didn't want to mess up the words on that.
Yes, and that hopefully will be starting in August, as long as the world doesn't, explode again.
Fuck, I hope by August.
Yeah, which hard to say.
That sounds
How
like
can you trust that the
eternity
world's
away.
How can you trust that the world's not going to explode at this point?
It's hard to know, but I keep believing.
Yeah, that's right.
But I'm excited about this year. I think there'll be some good stuff happening, and I've been doing streaming shows, which I'll continue doing. And really looking forward to the CMT tour, and it's a brand new chapter. So
yeah, that's exciting.
I think it'd be maybe, I don't know, it's cool to kind of get your thoughts on just something I was thinking about earlier when you were telling us about, the story behind Reba, hearing that, she sounded like Loretta Lynn, excuse me. And then Mike now saying that his student said that you sound like Reba. Like, is that, the timeline? Because I mean, we've talked on many previous episodes before just about like kind of the, I guess, inequality of like maybe airplay on radio or whatever it may be for women in country music. Is that something that I guess I don't know maybe where exactly I want to go with that question, but is that something that's kind of on your mind when you're writing a record? Is it something that you really kind of think about, I guess, either when you're writing or releasing or touring or whatever, or is it you kind of just I guess just what does that mean to you?
I think about it a lot in terms of I remember even when I was first listening to my grandpa's records, I remember when I was about 4.5, just based on the timeline of when the episode aired, but Reba was on Ralph Emery's show, Nashville Now, on TNN. And I remember watching that show and thinking, wow, girls do this too. And it was just when I got, and my grandpa had lots of awesome records, and the ones I just happened to listen to in there. I mean, I was so young, but Johnny Cash and Ernest Tubb and all these folks. But, there's just something to be said for seeing somebody that looks like you doing something that you want to do. So I do think about it a lot in terms of, I've been lucky enough to meet some up and coming singer-songwriters here in town who I'm always happy to give them my 2 cents, whatever that is worth, for my experience of being here, and working hard to put the music out there to continue to push to have those different perspectives of voices, and not just as a singer, but as a writer, and also with players and producers. I have a good friend, Alex Klein, who's produced some of my songs also, but she wrote and produced and played almost every instrument on Tennille Art's new single that's out right now.
Okay.
And I believe she's the only female producer that's not also an artist that's listed on the charts right now.
Wow.
Wow.
So I think it's cool
Very
just to,
interesting.
keep highlighting stories like that so that
Yeah.
people get inspired, so that kids who are coming up in different things can see different types of things. I mean, there's always swings in music. It's a little strange to me that there's not like really an equal to bro country. There's not like bra country or something.
Thank God.
And so it's kind of weird because it just inherently doesn't lend itself to that. But I do think there's so much amazing music from women out there that's really being embraced by the Americana, left of mainstream country. I love Indigo, the new Spotify playlist that they have. Apple's really supportive. So I think that if radio doesn't want to let everybody play, they're going to get run out anyway eventually, because people want to hear it.
That's what we're waiting for.
That's just it. Yeah.
I mean, women aside, but I mean, you said the bro country thing and the pop. Like, I think it's a ticking time bomb. People are gonna not want to hear that shit anymore, and they're gonna.
And they
want
have
to
other
hear
options. There's satellite radio. There's Americana radio. There's AAA radio.
Right. Yeah, I don't have to turn on the radio anymore. I can just go to all those things that you just listed and listen to whoever the hell I want, and find a lot more new artists than you would just listening to the radio. I mean, you'll hear 8 people in an hour, maybe.
I mean, I could get really kind of obtuse with this, I guess, but I think one of the problems is we used to have, and we still do have some, and I know that we have people who want to, but radio has become so corporate. Used to, the DJs were like as big a personalities as the artists, they really got fired up and personally just had a passion for music and discovering music and doing that. And now, that's not necessarily given as much leeway on some of the music.
Right.
There's no music discovery coming from the DJs.
Yeah, but there's still plenty of people out there who are fired up about music, who love music. So whether or not they're doing podcasts like y'all are to help people discover new music, they're curating a playlist, or making a YouTube video playlist, any of that stuff.
I think in kind of this side of the genre, there's a lot, and Grady Smith talks about this a lot. I don't know if you know Grady, but there's a lot more kind of like the users or the fan accounts and like fans of the music making more like content creation to like help promote the artists, and like more memes and more, just a lot more engagement coming from fans from this community, like very recently too. So that's something that's pretty,
a lot of which, by the way, too, are like, just kind of getting back to what we were just talking about, are not shy, or not like, there's no hidden agenda there where like they're not afraid to like promote female artists, and like they're just it seems like it's a bit more of a level playing field. I mean, at least I think when you get outside of the mainstream, I would say. Yeah.
And I've been really fortunate to have a lot of great supporters within country and Americana, from Leslie Fram at CMT to the folks at the Opry supporting me and putting me on the bills there. Jamie Johnson has taken me out on multiple tours.
Damn it! Come on, I was gonna do my next thing.
Sorry.
My next thing was asking what it was like to work with Jamie, and you went and stole it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry. But I think there are a lot of people who are put out and over kind of just a lot of things like we're talking about, not only female representation, but all kinds of other things. And one of the things I fell in love with country music was that there were so many subgenres and it was so diverse. You had so many different takes. I mean, you also, like, some of my favorite songs, you had like 5 or 6 artists in the same time period do covers of them. All did them because they were such unique artists in their own. It all had its own unique spin. And I think there are a lot of people that are really excited and passionate about music that are helping to promote people. So
For sure.
Right.
I guess getting back to that Jamie Johnson thing, I know Jamie's one of my favorite singer-songwriters that's out there, and I think a lot of our listeners would probably feel similar. I'm just curious what it's like to work with him, because I've been to a couple of his shows, and he seems like the first show, I don't think he said a single word outside of his lyrics the whole time. So I'm kind of interested to see like what he's like in person and to work with, because he doesn't seem like he's that outspoken.
Well, Jamie has a lot of thoughts. He's just very purposeful with when he shares them.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to work with him and Jim Moose Brown on both of my last two records, and Jim Moose worked on Jamie's records also that he's done. And it was really cool to have both of them, because I feel like they both brought their own unique strengths to it. Moose can play every single instrument there ever was. And he's also a great writer and singer.
Right.
But it has such a great way of being able to understand what an artist wants and convey it and plug into what they're doing. And Jamie, he doesn't give a single shit about something being perfect musically if it doesn't make him feel something. He didn't want to think about what songs should go on this album to make the right rounded out album sound. He wanted me to cut the songs that made me feel the most. What did I love?
Right.
And
that's
yeah. And he gave me a lot of confidence to feel like I could just do what I wanted to in the studio.
I feel like he's probably treating your album how he treats his own, is what it sounds like, because I would be willing to bet, I guess, from listening to his music, that he treats it the same way, as he's not going to do something if it doesn't make him feel something. And he's just gonna and that it carries out to the people, to the listeners, hearing it as well, and it does with your music too. So that's cool.
He's an incredible musician, and I think that definitely his passion is one of the things that really comes through, whether or not it's him being on stage with his band and just feeling like he really, really wants to play a certain song that night. And so they have to be ready to play any number of like 1,000 songs. Or if he's really diving into, I mean, he told me all about, he does this really amazing version of You Are My Sunshine. And telling me all about, I mean, like, he's researched the whole song, he knows the ins and outs of it, and really analyzing the lyrics and the emotions and everything. I mean, the last time I was writing with him, and now I'm not gonna, I think it was Langston Hughes. We're writing and he goes, oh, that makes me think of this Langston Hughes poem. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, just a minute. And he just like goes and pulls it out and just like recites this whole Langston Hughes to me. And I was like, who does, like, it's just so awesome to that sort of passion, that sort of love of words, of emotion.
And knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was an amazing Jamie Johnson impression.
I was just going to say, can we get another one of those?
Yeah.
He also taught me how to make lattes. So
Ooh.
I'm not very good at it with the foam art. Y'all might not know.
Jamie Johnson's good at making foam art lattes?
What?
Wow.
He has so many layers in that onion. So many layers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting.
That's shocking. But
that's cool.
Definitely didn't strike me as a latte guy, let alone getting to the fine details of the foam art.
Yeah, making art.
Wow.
Foam art. An artist is an artist. What can you say?
That's
amazing.
So yours is still a work in progress on the foam art?
It's awful.
Okay. Yeah. I've never attempted, and I probably won't.
It's like cartoon things that maybe got run over by a car or something.
It's just abstract art. We just call it abstract. Like Picasso,
that's great.
You know, you're like the Pablo Picasso of latte.
Yes.
Perfect.
I just want to say, like, shout out to Mark and Jason from Patreon, because we pretty much answered their questions throughout this podcast, and I just kind of didn't get to like jam the question itself in there. So shout out to those guys. Your questions did get answered.
Awesome.
I was just gonna say, like, something that I was just like sitting there like chewing on before this was like, it seems like you and Jamie, like Jamie's a great example of this, are two that seem like you have like a really high level of both respect and recognition from kind of the mainstream like Nashville community, despite the fact that despite the fact that you make like real music with really solid substance in it, you know what I mean? Like that sounds
traditional
like,
sounding
shitty, but
country
it's like
music versus
yeah, like you make music and you're incredible
Real music.
songwriters, and like I said, it seems like you have like an incredible level of respect and recognition from the folks who are in Nashville, and then even like fans who maybe otherwise wouldn't even listen to music like, that sounds kind of like Americana or real country or whatever you kind of a tag you want to put on
Real
it, you know
country.
what I mean? What do you think, like, I guess, I don't know, you can just comment on that, but I guess what do you think is like, why do you think that is, I guess?
Well, I think the older I got, the more tired I got of, it's like now I'm too tired to give a shit anymore about anything except for what I love. I just want to make music I love. And I completely understand and respect that it's going to fall where it does in terms of success, however you define that.
Right.
But I want to live every day and sing every song with passion and with being able to be excited about it. I don't want to have to sing to try to sell something to anyone,
Right.
And hopefully that comes true. I sometimes joke that God gave me country music to make up for my personality, but
Oh, gee. Don't be so hard on yourself.
You've been a pretty pleasant chat. I don't know about that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, I've gotten a lot better. I think when I first moved to Nashville, I am strangely like introverted extrovert, if you know what I mean. So I have no problem getting on stage in front of thousands of people, but sometimes walking into a party is terrifying.
Yeah.
Not that has anything to do with this, but I think I love country music so much. I mean, I just genuinely do, and I love what I get to do, and hopefully that shows through. And I think hopefully that's part of that.
Yeah, people can sense passion and sincerity for sure.
It's like you said earlier with like, you said, like, I think what you said was like the working or the average person's song or something like that, that absolutely, like, and Jamie too is a great example of, he makes those kinds of songs too. So I think that might have something to do with it. Another thing that like I kind of had written down was like, it seems like folks like you and Jamie just aren't afraid to like tackle maybe some like tougher subject matter or stuff that maybe other artists don't want to approach, or they're maybe afraid to, or they don't know how, or it's just not their thing. And it seems like you guys are just, and especially you're just unafraid to say or sing what needs to be said, regardless of whether it's your own experience or whatever. And what makes me think of that is your song Broken, because I had read an interview and you said, well, it's not my experience, but you wanted to like put it out there basically.
Yeah, that song was really influenced heavily by a group that I worked with in high school and college that I did peer counseling with. And man, there were just it was mostly young women specifically that I worked with. They just had these stories that were just so powerful. And to think about being even still in high school or just out of high school and be experiencing that and dealing with that, I don't think it's maybe a subject that's been dealt with a lot. And it just really hit me hard. Several of these girls had been had faced different kinds of situations, but also ended up having to give babies up for adoption in high school. And I just can't imagine. I mean, that's got to change everything. It's got to be the end of your childhood to deal with something like that.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's talked about a lot. And I think that, it was hard to watch, several of these girls, just how much it was clear they really, really loved their kids and they wanted them to have a better chance at life than what they could give them in the situations that they were in. And that, I have so much respect for them and how much that's got to take emotionally to be able to make that sacrifice and that decision.
Yeah.
And it's
Couldn't
not a
imagine.
story I'd heard a lot about. So,
Yeah.
and I sometimes feel really, I hope that that's a song that people, and I have heard from several people who've been through that situation that have reached out to me, and it's really humbling because it's not my story.
Right.
And so I hope that I treated it in the right way to put out there, but
Yeah, that would be, I would imagine singing about something like that, so serious and something that you obviously have some empathy for, making sure you put it out in the right light and don't misrepresent what you're trying, what it's really like. I'd imagine that'd be a little nerve-wracking,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing like getting heavy in the
Yeah.
on you, but
No,
I have a way to
that's-
lighten it up.
that's-
Gary.
Yeah, we gotta. What's that?
And I said I have a way to lighten it up.
Oh, yeah. She has no idea this is coming.
We do a segment called rapid fire questions,
perfect.
and they're not that rapid really at all.
Not rapid. They're
but
pretty
but
silly
they're-
most of the time.
They're silly. I don't know. Do you want to do just 2 or do you want to do 3?
I'm
We can
up
do
for
3. Don't matter.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
just
I'll
gonna-
start.
I'm
I'll
gonna
start it
pause you guys
off
for a second.
if you think you're ready.
I have a couple
Okay.
new ones, so I just gotta
Okay.
write them down.
Okay. So if you had to be stuck in one decade for forever, what decade would you be stuck in?
Ooh, 1 decade.
Mhm.
And not like personally based on like my family or anything, just like the decade.
Just the decade as a whole. You can be your current age in it, or whatever age you want, I guess. But you do not have to be alive during it. Like, you can pick whenever.
I think maybe the 90s. I don't know. I would go either like the early 90s or the like late 60s, early 70s.
I gotcha. That's a good answer. I figured you'd go back to like I was guessing 60s, maybe 70s. Yeah, for you. Not yeah.
All right,
There's a couple of
oh.
creature comforts I'm thinking about that I don't know
Mhm.
how much I would love back then. Like air
Right.
conditioning in your car.
Yeah, that's a good
probably a
point.
little too. I'm thinking too much about this.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, it's funny though. Also, like, just to go back on this, like, I think you did just coin the term bra country. I think we should make that thing. Perhaps.
Yes.
We should try to make that stick because I think that's awesome. Both hilarious and awesome. So this one comes from a patron on Patreon because he's asked it twice, I think, now, and we haven't used it yet. So what is the best way to consume potatoes? So like vodka, curly fries, regular fries, mashed
Whoa.
potatoes, you name it. What's the best way to consume potatoes?
I think I'm gonna go with waffle fries.
Okay.
Sleeper.
Yeah, that was a sleeper.
That's the
Sleeper
first thing that
pick.
comes to my mind, so I feel like that's what I need to put out there.
Go with your
I think I
gut.
would've-
I love it. Yeah.
I think I would have gone cheesy.
Ooh,
A cheesy?
Like no, like cheesy potatoes. Like
Oh, cheesy potatoes. I was like, I don't think cheese is made of. Anyway.
He's thinking cheesies, which I do love also.
Cheesies,
Right.
Canadians.
Cheesies, yeah, Aaron. Like,
Yeah, you know.
have you had
Yeah.
cheesies? Like
Yes, I love
Hawkins cheesies?
cheesies. Yes, and I have
Yes.
some folks in Canada that will once in a while send me a package of things such as that and ketchup
Nice.
chips,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
coffee
Nice.
crisp.
I've been saying Coffee Crisp is my favorite chocolate bar. Absolutely. Definitely. Great choice. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I feel so at home right now.
We'll drop some
Um,
Easter eggs for the Canadian fans in there tonight.
That's right. Yeah,
There you go.
perfect. I love it. I've been saying probably since we started doing this podcast, I have to send Mike like a little care package of Canadian stuff, but I haven't
Yes.
yet, but I will.
He was supposed to bring it down when he visited, but he forgot it.
Yeah, I didn't have enough room in my
That's okay.
suitcase and shit.
Oh,
So
that's all right. I
Anyway.
forgive you. Okay,
I do like that answer though.
I'm always reluctant asking this question, but I like asking it. What's the worst concert you've ever played? Like
I've ever
venue,
played?
like venue or like the fan, like people there, like worst concert experience. Not it doesn't have to be like I fucked that show up. That wasn't good. Like just like the worst concert experience, like
The
environment
roof was
wise.
leaking or something.
Right, yeah.
I've played some special shows, and honestly, I don't know. Like, I'm a big fan of the like all or nothing. So if it's going to be like crazy awful, I want it to be crazy awful enough that I can laugh about it, and it's like becomes Napoleon Dynamite in my memories.
Right.
I mean,
Is there
I
any that
don't know.
did that?
I've played some special shows. I'm afraid to even say.
Yeah.
You don't have to name.
Yeah,
the
you don't
venue.
have to name names, that's for sure.
I've played a couple. My least favorite shows to play, I will say this: I've played several shows at bars during like the Final Four or a big
Oh,
film,
fuck.
Oh,
and it's
no.
freaking terrible
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everyone hates you. No one is there to hear you, especially
No.
me. It's not like I'm like a party band or something there. To
Right.
play.
Yeah, true. Yeah, very.
Um,
Yeah.
And I've luckily had some sweet fans at a couple of those to be nice, but yeah, in my mind, every time they cheer, it's for me, but it
Right.
never is.
There you go.
That's what happened. Josh Morningstar and Ward Davis were playing during the Iowa State football game last year.
Oh,
Like
So-
they were in Iowa City, and like no, like it was during Josh Morningstar's set, and I just felt terrible for him.
Yeah.
that's rough.
And then Iowa won on like Iowa State fumbled the punt or whatever. Like they would have had a chance to win. They fumbled the punt, and then we won. And everybody
Yeah.
going nuts. And Josh was like, "Thank you." Like just took it like he was like
Roll with it.
everybody was cheering for him.
I remember playing at a stopover show at a restaurant
Oh.
during a sporting event and having some people like
no.
basically yelling at me,
Oh no.
why we don't want to hear you, go home and everything. And I was just
Oh,
like,
fuck.
I'm getting paid in wings, and if I don't keep singing, I don't get to eat tonight. So you're just gonna have to listen to it and like it.
Oh wow.
I've only earned one
Fuck.
basket, and I want two.
Yeah. Need to get the side of fries with it.
Shut up.
Yes.
Another half
Yeah.
hour for the fries.
Yeah, I'll stop if you pay for my wings.
That is a
Yeah.
great idea. I could just extort the audience.
There you
Yeah,
go.
absolutely. There you go. Well, I assume you're beyond those days now, but
Yes, but I mean,
um,
it's hilarious to think back about. Actually, it makes me laugh.
yeah. Well, what else can you do at that point, right? Okay, so you sing a lot about whiskey. Do you drink whiskey? I guess I assume you do. If you
I
do,
do.
what's the go-to
I mean,
whiskey?
I'll be honest, I drink a lot more beer than whiskey, but I do enjoy whiskey.
Mhm.
So many. I mean, I like Jack. I had this really cool bottle once. Jamie bought his own barrel from Jack Daniels, so they all had his name
No
on
shit.
them,
Ooh.
and it was delicious. It was Gentleman Jack. I enjoy Makers. I like the Makers 41. I like Dickel. They
I don't know
have
what that is.
like a cinnamon one that is
Ugh.
really good in sweet tea. It's strange, and I wouldn't have ever done this on purpose, but I went out there to do a show, and they gave us these aperitifs, and I partook. Angel's Envy is dangerous.
Did you say? I'm just gonna hit pause here. Did you say cinnamon whiskey and sweet tea?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Interesting.
it was very interesting.
I don't know. I might have to try it.
I'll have to
but
try it.
I don't know.
I'm not a big
I'll try
cinnamon
it,
whiskey fan. Ever since my sophomore year of college and a bad run-in with Fireball,
Yeah.
it's been touch and go.
Oh, I can't even make it Fireball. There is a reason that the devil is on that bottle.
Yeah.
I almost got divorced
met
over Fireball once.
Oh
So
fuck. Yeah.
Oh
it's
my.
yeah,
Oh,
no.
no.
I can't look
Yeah.
at that. We broke up. Me and Fireball.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not a
That's
thing
better
anymore.
than the other breakup
Then
that
the
Yeah.
alternative.
potentially
Yeah,
happened.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gee.
I've met that devil before on the bottle. That's It'll happen.
Dangerous.
It'll bring it out of you.
Is it? Whose turn is it?
It's your go.
No,
It's your
that's
turn.
my go.
Yeah, it's your turn.
What's the best Nashville eat?
Ooh. The best Nashville eat? I don't know. There's so many good ones. Man. That's
So,
really
like,
tough.
So like a lot of people listening to this, and like myself included, like going to Nashville every now and again. So maybe we're in for one night, we get one good meal. Where would you send us?
Okay, like if you're going
Also,
really fancy, like if someone else is paying for your dinner, Etch.
Yeah, someone. Okay, yeah, sure.
That's
someone else is
great.
paying. Yeah. Etch?
Yeah, I love that place.
That's good.
Yeah.
That'll work.
With that.
Whenever anyone's paying for my meal, that's where I like to go.
Is that like a steakhouse or like what kind of food do they got?
It's like kind of like a fancy experimental type kitchen type thing. They have really good like venison and they have this amazing cauliflower appetizer, which I know sounds ridiculous. I didn't know that I liked cauliflower until I had that. Or there's another place in town called Tavern that has the buffalo cauliflower.
Yes, the buffalo cauliflower. I just had that the other day.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That stuff's good. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and just assume that we're not going to get a sponsorship from Fireball anytime soon.
Sorry, Fireball.
Yeah. So my last one is, do you have any pre-show rituals? Are you a little stitious? Not superstitious?
I don't think I really do. I mean, I do kind of having a moment if I can to kind of chill a little bit and just
zero.
Yeah. But I don't have any specific, other than like unloading all my stuff and
setting up,
making sure I have everything.
Making sure the XLRs work and
the pre-show ritual of why do my batteries never work?
Yeah, there you go. Thought this cable was only 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
Well,
you got one more, Mike, or is that it?
No, dude, I started. So that means Erin has survived.
I made it. You've survived
narrowly,
rapid fires.
And they were really crazy and rapid, and that was wild.
They were not rapid at all. We were slow. We were slow in asking the rapid fire questions there.
Yeah, we were.
Oh well, it was fun, and that's all that matters.
That's right. It's all about the friends we made along the way.
Mm-hmm. And the sponsorships we lost with Fireball.
That's right. We're sorry, Fireball. If you're
it was fun while it lasted.
I'm not sorry. Right. Fuck you, Fireball.
I'm not really sorry. I don't think I could sit here. I don't think I could sit here with a straight face and drink Fireball whiskey. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I don't think I
so
can
dangerous.
I really
can't subject our followers to that.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, Erin, as a whole, this has been very fun, and I'm glad we were able to sit down with you and hear that tune. Thanks for playing.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was a blast. But I guess, Garrett, do you have anything else, or is it cool to?
No, I don't think
doing
so.
this?
Just basically,
okay.
Yeah, we can wrap it up. And yeah, like Mike said, thank you very much for playing that song for us. First of all, for coming on the show, of course. And yeah, let's do it again.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, anytime. But I guess before we sign off, if you want to send everybody towards your socials and your website and all that good fun stuff,
buy a
so
record.
they can find you.
Yeah, so my website's erinenderlin.com, which you're probably going to want to look at how to spell that, but
it's it should be scrolling at the bottom of your screen right now.
It'll be right there.
And I sell my physical albums on there. I'm on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, all that kind of good stuff. And you can find me at Erin Enderlin Music on Facebook, Erin Enderlin on Instagram, Twitter.
MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace. My MySpace account's probably like just a dumpster fire at this point.
I never even had
find all that
I
shit.
missed that wave.
Yeah, I was too young to have MySpace. So
it's a young whippersnapper.
I mean, I remember I had to like secretly get Facebook for like a year before my parents found out. Like I wasn't allowed yet.
Oh, you kids! They didn't even have Facebook when I was in college.
Like we would chat on a MSN Instant Messenger.
Yeah.
Remember that?
We just sent smoke signals to each other.
Messenger pigeons.
There you go. Well, anyways, Erin, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure chatting and hearing you play, and we look forward to talking to you later down the road and hearing what other great music you come out with whenever that may be. But yeah,
awesome.
But
thank you, guys.
I guess well, I guess I'll sign off here for Garrett, Erin, and myself. Thank you for listening to the Hippies and Cowboys podcast, and we'll catch you next time.
Beauty. We did it.
We did a podcast.
We did a podcast.